Hi, fellow tea lovers. Settle in.
The word is about. There's something evolving.
I'm Nell.
And I'm Rose.
Whatever may come, the world keeps revolving.
We've got a story.
They say the next big thing is here, that the revolution's near. But to me it seems quite clear that it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
We're bringing you the tea.
Across era.
Yes, I've seen it before. Just little bits of history repeating.
Welcome back.
Hey guys, happy Monday, or whatever day this happens to find you. It's always a Monday for us, usually.
Not next week. This will be past by the time you hear this, so sorry about that. But next week I was like, hey, Rose, I can't record next Monday, but like, are you free a different time? And she didn't ask why. She's just like, yeah, of course. But of course I told her, like, I'll be watching the college football playoffs.
We need to find you a better college football buddy than I am.
It's okay. And you know what? You always listen to me. I always say, hey, can I tell you something you don't care about? It's football.
Always, always.
I do appreciate it.
I owe you so much because the fact that you sit in that chair while we're recording is actually probably the major part of my argument for keeping it at this point.
Oh, sweet.
So
I like
you
this.
got all the football cred in the whole wide world.
Sweet. You do need to fix this arm.
I really need
My
to
foot
fix that
knocks
arm.
it over every darn time.
I know. So I have this ancient reading chair that was my grandma's, and I'm very attached to it, and it's
As
covered in
one
quilts.
is.
And but it had one of the arms is really just held together with ribbon that I've tied very tightly around the broken part. And if you know what you're doing, then it's perfectly fine. But if you don't warn people, they just fall right through it.
Well, yeah, and I'm sitting like cross-legged, which is bad for my knees. I can hear my coworker saying it to me right now. And yeah, I always accidentally kick it. Whoops.
My husband says I have a raccoon approach to life, and I actually can't really lie about it. I had a coffee incident this morning. You know, for those of you that love the coffee, like I love the coffee, the first cup in the morning is dicey when you're making it. Like, I was like this close. I'd finished everything up except for the pour over filter that I used was kind of like about half drained, and I managed to knock the whole sucker over. And it was like this avalanche of mud. And you would think that would be the disaster part of the story, but it's not. So I'm sitting there just like bitching and cleaning it up. And I go through like 15 towels, and I'd shake them out over the trash, throw them in the laundry. Well, my husband's doing laundry later, and he's like, did you have a tea bag in your pocket? And I was like, I mean, that seems like a reasonable question for me.
I know. I love that that's the first thing he thinks.
But no, and he's looking at the lint trap like, the hell is going on? And there was coffee just everywhere in the dryer. I think we're going to have to rewash that load. And so I tell him, I was like, we figure out what happened. And he just starts laughing. He's like, you're just like that video of the baby deer that got into that guy's basement. Like, oh, it's so cute. Oh, God, the destruction. Oh, he's so cute. But it's cute, right?
It is.
So
yes, I love it.
Point being, life is often fairly ridiculous. You gotta roll with it.
Right. Oh, my goodness, right? Speaking of, what are we talking about today?
I've been thinking a whole lot about tactical frivolity, and I know you have a weird look on your face. I had a weird look on my face. It sounds like a really academic way to explain something that really has no business being academic. So tactical frivolity, as we use it now, is defined as a form of public protest involving humor, quoting Wikipedia, including peaceful noncompliance with authorities, carnival, and whimsical antics. And
okay.
So the best example right now that I think has gone across everybody's screen is the Portland Frog.
Yeah.
It kind of lives in my brain. Excellent music choice, dude, just wherever you are. But it's leaning in on absurdity. Like the No Kings protest featured tactical frivolity in high volume.
Yeah, I see that a lot during, like, I guess around the time work gets off.
Mm-hmm.
You know that footbridge from like the mall over to the tennis park?
Mm-hmm.
It goes right over the interstate, and I always see people up there like in the blow up T-Rex costume with, their signs up there.
That's our modern contribution to ridiculous protest is
Definitely
T-Rex costumes.
eye-catching.
I mean, if you want to make a point about anything that somebody will pay attention to, put on a T-Rex costume.
Right.
So I started looking more into tactical frivolity. It's a really unique approach to a not unique problem.
Okay.
And so there's a really great TED Talk. There a guy named Larry Bogad, and if I'm butchering your name, I apologize.
Sorry, Larry.
He's a teacher, I believe, at UC Davis, and he gave a whole TED Talk about the nuts and bolts of theatrical protest and why it works and how wide-ranging it is. I really recommend it. We're going to put it on the website. He defined the practice as trying to interrupt the hegemonologue, which I think that's such a great term. And
What is that?
so the hegemony is the idea of a religious or governmental entity kind of transcending regionality or countries in order to exert greater control.
Oh.
I had a professor that used to call the Catholic Church the evil hegemony because she was a
So
medievalist.
not for good, for control. Got it.
Generally not really, but it's like the centralized message exerting control over the whole. And so it's
Like the Crusades?
yeah. Product of the evil hegemony. Thank you, Miss. I don't think I can say her name. But
Miss Teacher?
thank you, dear
Professor?
Because she's a doctor, but I'm not trying to dox anybody.
Right.
So Larry Bogad, he actually wrote a book called Tactical Performance, The Theory and Practice of Serious Play. Saying I think what we do with our elective time and what we choose to do, we try to entertain ourselves. That's often humor. Best medicine, best time waster, best time spender.
Right.
And the way we choose to embody that, I think, just says so much about us as people.
Yeah, and I really don't want like sociologists and whatnots of the future to be like, and this person spent her time with her brain sliding out her ear because she just watched short form media on Instagram.
Right. We
It
seek
has to be
depth.
better than that
We seek depth.
because that's what I do.
So this professor, Mr. Bogad, says, I first came across the term tactical frivolity in the 90s when folks were protesting against corporate globalization. There were these very militarized police responses that were really overkill, and folks just started showing up dressed as fairies and elves and all kinds of things with fabulous wings just to underscore how ridiculous the overreactions from police forces were in different countries.
Okay.
So it was a tactic, both to be self-expressive, to be beautiful or funny or silly, in order to attract more people to participate in the demonstrations by making it honestly fun, but also to expose to the world and the media that this is not an appropriate event to bring a tank and massive amounts of weaponry into control.
Right.
Still quoting. But if you think about it, it goes back much further. It goes back to carnival protests in the Middle Ages, where folks were saying very edgy things in public about the church or the king, but they had to do it in a way that made themselves absurd or silly so that they could get away with it safely.
Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yes. Here in the States, these are peaceful social movements, but they're being portrayed in such a way that is so aggressive and dehumanizing to create a permission structure for violent repression from the authorities. It's a cultural setup from above to make it possible at some point to be super repressive. What do we do on the chessboard culturally? What's our counter move?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and yeah, the idea of being able to speak to power and authority with truth and also in safety. I mean, that's something people have sought throughout documented history. That's like Lysistrata.
Mm-hmm.
Lysistrata is a comedy first and foremost, but it really, really, really makes the point that you have to take things to an absurd level in order to sort of break the spell of some issues that need addressing. Some things get woven into the fabric of our lives so easily and so subtly. It's frog in a pot syndrome.
Well, like last night was the Golden Globes, which I didn't watch. I was actually watching an episode of Saturday Night Live with my friend after we cleaned her house. And it was the episode from, I guess, a few months ago that had the host of the Golden Globes on at that time. And yeah, that's what comedians do. And I, just started rewatching Atlanta. And I know you love that show. And that's, that's a lot of what that does. Not quite so humorous all the time.
Yeah, no, but I would absolutely place a lot of their storylines in the tactical frivolity route because you're making something really absurd in order to draw a point that isn't even necessarily connected. That honestly usually isn't. No, Atlanta is art. It speaks volumes, and I'm really, really glad that it ended up getting its last season, even though it was by far the most bizarre, and that is a compliment.
Oh, okay.
All I'm gonna say is Judge Judy is a joke I'm finally gonna be able to make at you. Like, if you know, you know.
I guess I'll know and just soon.
But I'm really loving the terminology that came with learning about tactical frivolity and humor with a point in general.
Mm-hmm.
So next term we'll be visiting is Rabelaisian humor.
Rabelaisian?
Almost. It's got a B in it, so Rabelaisian humor.
Rabelaisian.
Rabelaisian. I know, isn't it beautiful? It's humor which allows the underclass to comment on the inequalities of their society and what their betters are up to.
Exactly.
So it's named after the famous author Rabelais.
Who wrote?
Most famously, Gargantua and Pantagruel. So he was in the 16th century. His most famous works were satire. He's considered one of the fathers of modern satire. Gargantua and Pantagruel chronicles the adventures of two giants through a mix of vulgarity, wordplay. It's known for its really bawdy humor and social satire. It's an exploration of Renaissance humanism. This is a very veering side note, but do you remember the humanist society that was really mad at me at the Natural History Museum that one time? So this is a really good opportunity to define humanism in the Renaissance terms versus modern.
That's the thing I have against reading books like this. I can't read it on my own and then have someone tell me what I was reading.
Mm-hmm.
I need you to tell me what I'm getting into beforehand. That's the same thing with Atlanta.
These are the kind of things that discussion groups are really, really helpful for.
Right? Some
Yeah.
of my teachers are like, read this. None of this language means what it used to. The
Have
words
fun.
are all have different meanings now.
What did you think
Write
of
an
it?
essay.
Well, hell if I know.
Uh,
No, context is super key.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So humanism today gets presented as kind of like the antithesis of Christianity, like or monotheism, I guess. Like you're a humanist if you believe in people, and you're a theist if you believe in God, basically.
What do you mean believe in people? Like, I believe in people. I see them. I can believe in them because I see them. They're here.
As humans as the origin of philosophy, I guess, would be like to put a finer point on it, where instead of considering the world's problems and your own through the filter of a deity, modern humanists consider that they filter it through just their experience on Earth. Like it's very based in human to human interaction versus human to deity interaction.
Once again, I find out that I'm weird because I'm like, well, yeah, you do both, right?
Right. One would think. But yeah, that's
But
the thing.
no, I
It's very
can
amorphous.
see. Right, and especially at times when, like, religion was all some people had.
Mm-hmm.
Religion and serfdoming or whatever it was.
Right, you're trying to explain yourself to yourself, and religion isn't just that explanation, it's community. In a lot of places, it's the only community.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, not knocking, I'm just saying, like,
No.
so modern humanism presents itself as, like, the antithesis of religiosity.
Okay.
Renaissance humanism is very different because, you know, Renaissance, you're living in a world where you're Christian or not. Like, when you're talking about the Western world, that's you're in or you're out. But within that structure, humanism was a worldview that was centered, quoting Wikipedia here, centered on the nature and importance of humanity that emerged from the study of classical antiquity. And so you were kind of giving yourself permission to listen to antiquity a little bit, because it was always a 50-50 question within early to mid Catholicism as to whether you should be listening to those Greeks.
Antiquity being the Greeks.
Well, yeah, right. So ancient Greece, and antiquity is basically it's another step back from medieval. So you have antiquity, medieval, early modern.
Oh, okay.
Renaissance is nestled in there, and it's an opinion-based thing when it starts and stops. It really depends on regionality.
Antiquity was when the Greeks were very powerful in the Western world?
Right,
Okay.
right. So, but antiquity can also encompass things like the Persian Empire or Egypt. So that's why I was hedging a little bit. But yeah, it's like pre-medieval.
I gotcha.
Yeah, but I mean, those Greeks, it was very 50-50 whether or not you were going to trust them as a good Christian man, because, well, they didn't know Jesus. How would they know what was right? Humanism gives the scholar permission to take the opinions of Greeks seriously.
Okay.
It's a very, very short definition. But it's very different from modern humanism, and my only real experience with like an actual organized group of humanists was terrible. And I will say up front, I don't think that that's representative of everyone. I don't think anything is representative of an entire group. But these guys were weird. So they were having this Darwin Days celebration at the museum that I worked at. It was a natural history museum, so that doesn't actually seem beyond the pale.
Right.
But some group of creationists got wind of it beforehand and was incensed that we would be celebrating that Satan crap. And
it's just science, my dude.
oh, but it's science and public money, so they had to be listened to. And so very reasonably, they offered to give them their own, I guess, like little side day where they could have an event which presented their side. It wasn't like we weren't able to
At a natural history
right. It's not like
museum.
we could host a thing that made them happy, but they were free to host whichever thing made them happy in our multi-purpose room. And was that a good compromise? No. And so leadership decided to escape the whole mess and just cancel the event.
Nice.
Then the humanists heard about that. So then they called and said, how dare we cave to these heathen monotheists that don't believe in humanity or science? You're a science museum. Kind of get the point.
Right. Yeah.
How dare you cancel this? And so everything was just a mess for ages. What ended up happening is that the both of them realized that they could compromise, get the multi-purpose room to hold whatever sort of meeting they desired.
Yeah.
And so they would constantly, every month, they would each book an event and then call multiple times from multiple people just to make sure that the other person's event was still on. Actually, they were just checking on their own, just to make sure us dastardly people weren't going to cancel on them. And we're all just sitting there like, we just like dinosaurs.
Right.
Why are we having this argument?
That's a lot. I mean, I had a high school biology teacher who just like skipped the whole, I don't know, 12th chapter, second chapter, whatever it was in the book that was on, the Big Bang Theory, basically.
No.
Because, I mean, you shouldn't teach that in the Deep South. Everyone went to church. Like, you guys, we already knew what was up.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's me, and I'm like, well, yeah, but if I believe in God, and I do, I also believe in the science that he made. So obviously he made it, and that was the scientific way he did it. Duh, they're one and the same. So there's
that type
me
of flexibility
over
is
here.
a little rare.
That's true. It is rare, and it's not always easy.
Yeah, so modern humanism and Renaissance humanism, not the same thing. So Gargantua and Pantagruel, it's filled with all kinds of commentary and, of course, gross jokes. If you're wondering what any society thought was funny, fart jokes is your first stop. If you're ever a time traveler, that's just going to be a handy trick. People never stop loving fart jokes.
Right. That is a good time traveler tip. The dog today walked out, does a big stretch, and is like, luckily that was also in the back.
And I bet you laughed.
I did laugh.
So, like, the fifth book of Pantagruel reads like a subversive voyage of the Dawn Treader.
Oh.
Visiting all of these places are filled with the things that you should watch out for in real life. So, quote, at Ringing Island, the company finds birds living in the same hierarchy as the Catholic Church. On Tool Island, people are so fat that they slit their skin to allow the fat to puff out, stylistically apparently. At the next island, they're imprisoned by furred law cats and escape only by answering a riddle. Nearby, they find an island of lawyers who nourish themselves on protracted court cases. In the Queendom of Whims, they uncomprehendingly watch a living figure chess match with a miracle-working and extremely long-winded Queen Quintessence. You can see where Lewis Carroll got it.
Yeah. Wow. Letting your skin to let your fat. Ugh.
Yeah, but medieval morality performances are very full with corrupt priests and stupid nobility doing all manner of things. You can see this really intense desire to turn the status quo upside down, even if it's just for the length of a play.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. There's a neat study on Rabelais that has its own story, so I was super excited. I got this for Christmas. Yay! Book for Christmas. It's called Rabelais and His World. It's by Mikhail Bakhtin. which I believe I'm pronouncing right. And it was actually his senior thesis in the 30s in Russia. And the book itself wasn't published until the 60s. And so the number of restrictions under which it was published, frankly, it's really surprising that it actually made it. He managed to write this dividing line between praising enough of the right people in order to get it published while still telling his truth about something that, honestly, it's very controversial. Speaking truth to power always is. And
Like
so
the guy in the Gilded Age.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what he thought he was getting out of
New
that.
season coming this year.
That book is really good, actually. I gotta
Ooh, juicy. I know.
But yeah, it was like a story within a story that he was writing in a way that would get the message heard, just the same way that Rabelais was writing in a way that would get the message heard.
Okay.
What was even more exciting is there's a brand new translation of this out with context that's even including like early Ukrainian war.
Oh.
It's because it's that new of a translation, and so
Okay.
it's got a really nice amount of context so far. I'll admit I haven't finished it yet. It's a little bit of a tome, but it's really good so far.
It looks like a textbook. Size-wise, I mean.
Yeah, it does. Reads a little bit like one too, but it was written like a textbook. It's
Mhm.
a senior thesis, but just the ideas that he's presenting are just very, very interesting. Obviously, you have to take it with a grain of salt, like you do anything.
Yeah.
My mom got mad at me the other day because she was asking about a headline that she had seen, and I was like, well, who published it? And she was like, "You're just like your father. Who wrote it? Who wrote it?" I was like, "Well, it is the first stop of a curious researcher. That's not a
So,
pejorative."
yeah, you got to check that.
It's very
My
important.
news feed is incredibly curated,
Mhm.
but not everyone's is.
Right. And just in point of fact, it's on you as a reader to know the person that's giving you the information. Obviously, not everybody's trustworthy, but you can have a baseline system for, does this sound believable to me?
Right.
So, yeah.
Right. And it's unfortunate because way too many people use clickbait type headlines.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So not helpful.
not at all. So Rabelais in his world, this book it's considered one of the best sources documenting early absurdity.
Okay.
And it contends that humor and vulgarity and complex sarcasm were some of the rare vehicles by which the common man could openly comment about his social betters without much fear of reprisal.
Yeah.
It's like a roast. If you bitch about a roast that you agreed to attend, no one looks like an asshole but you.
Right.
If you bitch about a play that you funded that happens to make you look stupid, you look much stupider.
Yep.
You were talking about Hunchback of Notre Dame
Oh, yeah.
earlier when we started about. I was laughing because part of the idea of flipping things on its head was the Lord of Misrule traditions. The Lord of Misrule celebrations, it's interesting because it's built into the structure of religious events, but it acts like a blow-off valve, basically, for people wanting to see change in their life or see what, acting like nobility was like.
Explain the Lord of Misrule.
I was going to say, how we were joking about how we were celebrating Tudor Christmas this year, basically just so we get 12 days instead of one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And everyone kept asking me, what do we do? What do you do? And I was like, Feast of St. Stephen is these 2 days during which you should be nice to people. And which is true, but is the small version of
Right.
that.
Right.
On the 4th day, we sing Good King Wenceslas because we realized that's what the song's about. And But so Tudor Christmas tradition, and in a lot of other traditions beside, this is just a good example, you have a bishop for a day. You basically have the bishop of Misrule. And so all the choir boys of the parish get to draw straws, and one of them gets to be the fake bishop for the day.
Okay.
And it's a lot like the other Lord of Misrule nights, where you're eating the Mardi Gras cake and whoever gets the baby is the
The good luck person or
good
whatever.
luck person or the person in charge for the evening. Results vary.
Yeah.
But the point is that you're flipping your entire existence on its head for one night. Right. Somebody else is in charge. Something else is going on. And so if you've spent your entire year as a serf going, man, I wish something would change, that's going to relieve that a small amount. So,
yeah.
That's also a little bit of insurance on the Lord's side.
Yep. Keep
Lord's
him happy.
manor.
Give him all those days off work.
Bread and circuses.
They
So
got
watch
way
out
more
for your
days off work
frivolity.
than we do.
Honestly, they did.
Unless you're listening in another country. Y'all do too, probably.
Finland, we love you. Please take us.
Jelly.
But when you really want to say something, and you really, really shouldn't, humor is your first and best defense.
Right.
when you really think somebody should feel bad about their actions and they don't, embarrassment can actually do a lot to change behavior.
Oh my gosh.
So there's a French folk tradition called a charivari or a chivaree, which is funny because chivalry I always thought was like the sock throwing thing on wedding nights. Do you know that one? Like,
Oh, I was
that's a whole
thinking of
different
Shania Twain Law when you said that.
But no, so the chivaree was also called rough music, and it's a noisy procession held outside the home of an accused wrongdoer involving cacophonous rattling of bones and cleavers, the ringing of bells, hooting and howling. So basically, if somebody in your neighborhood was acting a fool and nobody else was going to do anything about it, the citizenry could get together and just basically walk up and down the block like, Dave's a dick, Dave's a dick.
People still do that to this day.
Exactly.
Outside of the hotels where Isa has been staying.
You do it with that frivolous...
Yeah. It's an
We are-
overkill because the situation's an overkill.
Exactly. It's an overkill reaction to an overkill situation, but it's also, again, pointing out to any observer how ridiculous it would be to level pepper balls at the ferries.
Right?
So going into a few more modern examples, Ellen Bogat, so he actually co-founded, he was the guy we were quoting from UC Davis earlier,
Okay.
he co-founded something called the Clandestine Insurgent Rebel Clown Army, which I love, and unfortunately apparently doesn't exist anymore, but you know. But they were carnival people. They were clowns that would have shown up to the types of protests that we're having now with really interesting results. In 2005, there was this confrontation between police and protesters that the Insurgent Clown Army was a part of.
Nice.
It
Well,
ranged,
I think.
well, yeah, it ranged from playful to possible violence. In one instance where dancing clowns were baton charged by the police, which is
Ooh.
unfortunately more of what we're seeing now. But in another much more frivolous instance, the clowns atop the bridge convinced the police to play a game of dwarfs, wizards, and giants, a variant of rock, paper, scissors involving teams and full body movements.
Yeah.
When both the clowns and police chose to be the wizards, they, as per the rules, called it a draw and hugged. And that's a successful protest. That's a successful assertion of your rights as a citizen that actually got respected. I mean, I wish it wasn't that rare.
Right.
But I think it's possible.
Speaking of clowns, I was listening to a episode 24 or something of Morbid podcast. So they've been around for a couple years, so it's pretty old. But whatever they were covering, there was like, and they hung out with the juggalos. And what are the juggalos? And they were talking about it. And one of the hosts was like, you know, when I looked into them, they do a lot of like philanthropic stuff. They just don't talk about it. And it made me laugh because my poor kid, I always tell her I'm like, it's not my fault you're half juggalo. It's not from me, y'all. But that just reminded me of clowns.
You're the second person this week to independently bring up ICP to me in that context. Like, did you know? I'm like, I know. Yeah, that kind
Also,
of satire is absolutely...
Yeah, satire, yeah.
It's there for a purpose.
Like late night TV shows.
You know, it's funny, everybody has a varying level of tolerance for news lately, and I'd say probably medium. What I end up doing is just, you know, settling in and making sure that nothing's on fire at work, and then watching a monologue or two while I'm having my coffee. And just kind of like extrapolate from there, like, okay, look that up, look that, this sounds interesting. The Hungry for Power Games sketch that Colbert did, I think that's probably my favorite piece of satire ever. And I think that a lot of people forgot about it. And I'm just so sad. It's out there. It's on YouTube.
Okay, so I don't know what it is.
So the Republican convention in 2016, Stephen Colbert snuck in, dressed as the host from the Hunger Games with the blue hair and
That's
everything,
right.
And he was doing all of these just ridiculous fake interviews with people like, "Hi, sir, how are you enjoying your oppression today?" And it just wreaking havoc. And he makes it up onto the stage, and you know they finally get security to drag him off, and he points at Trump.
I saw Borat. You can make it onto a lot of stages.
You can get onto a lot of stages as long as you thought of it first.
Just act like you know what you're doing.
He points at Trump and he's like, "Look, I understand I'm not supposed to be here, but neither is he."
Oh my.
And that was the most incisive tactical frivolity I personally have ever experienced.
Right. I think a lot of times I'm like, late night shows like fill that gap. I'm at the no news phase. My news feed's so curated. I didn't even know MTV was shutting down their music channel, which
I found out from you.
wasn't that big of a deal.
Well, to quote I don't know if you prefer Larry or LM. You've been quoted as both. So to
Oh,
quote Professor Bogad one more time, let's be frogs. Let's be funny stuffed animals and dinosaurs and things like that. There's that willingness to make yourself ridiculous that can be very disarming. Someone in a frog costume, unless you really have a problem, it's hard to stay mad at that guy, right?
so true.
Let's be frogs.
I just need to make this comment. If I had known Larry's name was LM, we'd be calling him that the whole time.
Oh,
In my next life, I totally want to be named like JP or something.
oh,
Like, and I
okay.
just want to go by my initials. That, I'm gonna think about that. Okay. Anyways,
Well, thank you for listening, and I hope you have, I don't know, something ridiculous in your day that is a good kind of ridiculous.
yeah, I hope you have a nice day. I
Absurdity
had
in general.
a really great professor in my last year of my master's program, and he would always give us that quote from, I believe, John Lewis, "Make good trouble." Go make good trouble.
I like that.
I like it too. Also, like and follow
And be safe.
and be safe.